by ourselves and a little apart. There's like no bikes. There's a couple people. So
well, and I saw a woman jogging, and I was like, wow, fair play to you, jogger.
Is she jogging or slip and sliding? This is more the slip and slide type
like
of
cross country skiing.
Yeah. She's doing the sliding part. It is cold.
So this is where I realized like my blood has definitely been like I mean it's chill, right? We got a cold breeze. It's wet.
I think I want to say it's in the 50s.
Oh, we are streaming.
We are live.
So but like when I was living in New Mexico, this would be like hoodie weather, and now I'm like, oh, I cannot contain my body.
One thing different though, we're not moving.
That's true.
We're stationary. See, if you were walking,
oh man, these cement blocks.
Cement blocks been freezing overnight.
It's hilarious. I have like a pair of like those thermal running shorts that I never use. Now that we moved to California, they're so cool, but like I still have them buried in the back of the car. You know what? Probably not gonna. It's not gonna be that. Oh man, is this like?
Part of me is wishing we did one last week when we said that we originally were going to do this. We were planning on doing this meetup last Thursday, and we were trying to just kick it with you guys, but scheduling and a whole bunch of things. Like, you know what? We'll do it next week. We'll do it right before Christmas. Yeah. It'll be fun. We'll do a theme thing.
For Californians, low 50s. I should have gotten a scarf. Like I think that would. Instead of me keeping my.
I'm thinking a beanie, scarf, maybe a better jacket. But definitely better pants. Actually, I'm thinking. So you guys can see this. These are cement, and they are cold.
And my body heat is just getting leached out of my bottom into this.
On that note, welcome back to the best of our week.
And for all of that, this is the best of our.
It is the best of our week. Actually, getting a chance just to get out of the house, just hang out with you guys. And getting a chance to see my buddy. You know, I haven't seen him for a while. We keep saying we're going to try. I realize the distance thing, and I know it's like a broken record, but it does take some time. The weather is not helping. That's definitely interesting.
I mean, it's been beautiful just because this is the West.
Oh, absolutely. We've been waiting for this all summer long. Even
the first big rain that we had, I think in 2 days we beat like the total rainfall for LA County all last year.
That was what's it called? Winter Storm 2021 for us. The major rain is pretty much one storm.
Oh, man. I totally learned that it's going to be a major structural issue with the house that we bought. That the back patio that we've got dips and becomes a lake. So if we get even just a little bit of rainfall, it just puddles.
Do you have any drain issues?
Oh, we definitely have some drain.
Hey, welcome to the Drain Issue Club. So this is the best of our week with the best drain issues. Because I have, in my backyard, I have massive water draining issues. So whenever we get a decent amount of rain, not like this, but like the last system we got, my backyard becomes a pool. I mean, it's a shallow pool. You can definitely walk in it. But it's a pool for all the squirrels and all the other animals.
So we're going to try and keep all of this running. Just fair warning in case anything goes fork.
And if the video quality kind of dips, I do apologize.
It will. It will dip. So we're out here in the amazing era of 5G and ultra wideband and all that fun stuff. My Pixel is currently on HSPA plus.
Yeah, HSPA.
Where normally we would get kind of good LTE here. But I do want to shout out, because we've got some great people in the chat. We've got Umar, we've got Gary, we've got Barry Johnson, David Burns, Aditya Anil.
Aditya, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Got Finn dropping in, Gary the fireman that I mentioned. So we got a good crew already. We definitely need Steve to make fun of us for being so
Steve
sensitive.
DeRoche, just come up and say, "You guys think this is cool? You
just
think this is cool?"
Slap us with his frigid ice hands.
Yeah, the French
and we'll cry.
As long as he does it with the French accent, I think it'll be okay.
Well, then it's classy.
Yeah. Because if we do
we got Sam. Hey. Wow, that's cold outside. It's Southern California. They are bundled up, and it's probably 50 degrees. Screw you, Sam. But I love you like a brother.
Yeah,
but screw you.
It's cool. No, it is one of those. Honestly, because
we're moist.
Yes, and it's gonna get worse. This is the beginning of the show.
Zibo, and my Vivo X70 is now completely covered in just this slime of Southern California mist.
It's welcomed rain. It's welcomed weather.
It is.
As long as we were inside.
For our bio.
Yeah, it's one of those. Honestly, so here's the thing. I love cold weather. more than hot weather, because with hot
Agreed.
weather you cannot get rid of it because you can take as many things off until it gets hot.
Oh yeah.
With cold temperatures, you're able to layer on. Yeah, good show.
See, it's my favorite. Like when you're falling asleep and you've got that cold air, but you've got like really warm covers. That's what I miss about desert mountain living.
One of my favorite features of the 8 bed that I have is that it warms up. It has a warming function at the base of the feet. My wife doesn't like it. I like it. I think it's a nice feature. You can actually even use Alexa and just like, hey, warm up my bed before I get in. So you get into warm coverage. If you're that kind of
that used to be someone's job.
Yeah.
Like if you were like a rich nobleman, you'd have like some little servant scurry around with like a pan of coals to put into your bed.
Yep.
And now that's Alexa.
Alexa.
At some point, the machines will rise up.
And they'll be like, I'm not warming your bed.
Shackle off the bonds of their oppressors.
You didn't give me 5-star review on the last purchase you made on my store, so I'm not going to warm up your bed. It'll be one of those. I'm pretty sure it'll be one of those. But it is the end of the year. We are
happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy Festivus, actually.
Yes.
Everybody does
Merry
celebrate
Festivus.
to the best of us. And then we obviously have Christmas, New Year's coming up, and whatever debacle it is that CES thing is going on, because it is unfolding and not in a good way on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, they're still saying they're going to do the show in person, although
increasingly it's looking like the outlets that I work for and like where I'm going to be getting funding and stuff, they're pulling the plugs. So we'll have to see if there's like maybe even a day trip. If I drive out there, spend the night, and then drive back or something.
It may. I mean, I'm still, like I said, I told them right before the show, saying I'm kind of debating it. Is it worth? The barbell for me is I've made my reservations for an extended amount of time, and if I don't cancel by the 27th,
you're in for a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to lose money if because even if the main people that I wanted to go see are not going to be there, it's not worth the drive.
The travel budgets now start getting described in terms of holding funds. Like if TK doesn't cancel before the 27th, he's out 2 Galaxy Folds.
Pretty well.
To make a Vegas
2 Galaxy Folds and maybe a Z Flip, because depending, if you want to take out the family.
Or actually, because you were going to plan on making it a family thing. You were really looking forward to that, and with everything that's going on, even though now Lex is fully vaxxed, which we're really excited about.
Yeah.
It's my photo of the year is when she got her first shot, and Marie goes to give her a hug, and just kind of see last year on his face. It looks like something out of like war correspondence photography. It's just like an entire year of emotion just kind of came out.
It was definitely a much more emotional state for me and my wife when we gave first. Then I don't think he appreciated the stress. I mean, holding that much stress for that long and not talking about it, not dealing with it, but always be worried is not an easy conversation to have, for sure. But so yeah, for me, it was going to be the last week before Omar goes back to school, and so it's going to be like, bring them with us. I get, I'll be busy at certain times, and then we'll be able to spend some time and maybe do things. But so we'll see. I don't want it to be where we go there and just sit in the hotel for a week. That's not a vacation. We'll just have that at home.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. We'll keep you guys posted. If you do show up, though, it'll be fun because we can definitely maybe
we can try and
get a Shake Shack. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
If you decide to stay, our family was thinking about maybe like a long zoo day up in Santa Barbara.
Ooh, love the Santa Barbara.
Actually, really
honestly,
nice.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Very nice. And if we need to do like another in-person fourth stream, the ocean behind us next to like the gorilla.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that could be.
It's not me crying. It's just the rain hitting sideways.
I'm getting a little misty. That could be as much fun as like a Vegas. I'm just saying our fallback.
Our
plan B.
Yeah. This was actually, we had a couple plan Bs to this morning, and
this is funnily enough, this is pretty close to our plan A.
It was pretty close to what we wanted to do.
The land. Very impressive.
We almost changed the entire location because of a
twice
small problem with me at home. Luckily, though, seriously, one of the best people I've ever met, the electrician guy that helped me install the charger for my car at home. Our 50-watt breaker apparently was was not able to handle the 48 watts output that I needed for the Tesla, and it melted. It actually,
That's exactly what you don't want to have happen.
Yeah. So I texted him, and then at 5:30, by 6:30.
No, you know what? I'm going to say, in the spirit of best of our week, and in the end of this year, that's exactly what you wanted to have happen. That breaker was doing its job.
Oh, absolutely. No, it did.
It failed
without burning my house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So task failed successfully. Because my parents had a problem with their breaker box where it actually like caught on fire.
Yeah.
So you avoided fire. I'm going to say victory of 2021.
And I made it to the street.
And we still stuck the landing. I'm very impressed with us right now.
I'm just glad. I'm glad that that's how we. Like I said, we couldn't have planned for it, but overnight it was having problems. Woke up this morning like, let me just shut off the breaker and turn it back on, because that's how you
turn it off and off.
Yeah. So I turned it off, but then as I clicked off, the whole thing moved with me, and I was like, that's not supposed to happen, right? And then I tried to click it back on, and it wouldn't turn back on. So I'm like, okay, definitely the breaker, but I couldn't smell anything, by the way.
No, that's good.
I'm
very impressed.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
The guy shows up, and he's like, yeah, this is a
bummer. That could have been a catastrophe.
So,
because I don't know if you know this, but electricity
is fixing it in the rain.
Oh, that's
okay. So,
freaky.
Our circuit breaker box is not indoors; it's outdoors.
That sucks.
So luckily,
so bad.
He was misting; it wasn't so bad. So he was like fixing the live wires, like a 50 amp circuit breaker. And I'm like sitting there, like, oh crap, he's gonna
all you need to do is beat the speed of light.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, he was a champ. He fixed it. He got me set up, and then he gave me a tip. He said, just don't charge at the full 48 amp. This is 48 amp charger, 50 amp. So he said, just drop it down to 40, running it at like 80%. You'll still get like 40 miles extra an hour. It's charging overnight. You'll never really notice it. I said, you're right. And it helps with the heat. I think it was because I was pushing it.
Yeah.
I was using 48 out of the 50, and that's the full power of that breaker. For sure. Typically, you don't want to be at that high limit. So long story, we're surprisingly long. We're here. We're making it, and we're doing the exchange. Following
Happy Holiday Phone Challenge exchange.
Happy Holiday phones. Yes. We've been talking about it. I know we kind of teased at it. I think it's a good time for us to spend some time. Next week's a little bit.
Yeah, because also like we're getting to the beginnings of like next generation phones coming out, and it's a little like Black Friday.
Yeah.
Where Black Friday used to be this thing that you kind of woke up early for the day after Thanksgiving, and then it became like days before Thanksgiving, where they would start like really pushing these retail employees for all late night sales and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we used to count on January being a recovery month. Getting to the end of the year, all of your wrap up stuff, and then you get to January, and you can kind of go back and revisit. So I want to get back to the spirit.
Yeah.
Where I know there's a new Moto out that has the Qualcomm 8 Gen 1. There's probably going to be something early in the year from Xiaomi. Samsung's probably going to reply with an FE. And you know what?
Announced on the 4th that they're releasing their first.
So I want to spend some time in January just looking back at some phones that I really didn't get to spend much quality time with, and that we can kind of share. So we're actually doing, the big year, the folding phones, obviously, but we're also
was to life.
We're also going to be swapping a secondary phone. So for the first time ever, if we had more production value, there'd be like big fanfare.
People behind.
We're doing 2 phones for our phone swap challenge: a productivity folding phone, stylus-enabled phone, and a photography-focused phone.
Absolutely, I think that's which is it's a little bit different. Like you said, we've done the folding, which is pretty much, I think, it's a repeat of what we did last time.
Well, last time I wanted the Note. Because I wanted stylus.
Yeah. We wanted stylus. So the fold and
I still want stylus.
And I think that's I got you covered.
No. That's exactly.
The best stylus we can get. The best stylus Samsung ever made.
Well, I wasn't particularly.
It is the Pro. It is the Pro. So you're going to become a professional when you get this.
I just got upgraded.
You definitely upgraded, and the casing, of course, comes with it.
Now a real big deal.
Pretty much. So big deal, you're going to be a pro. So we'll start off on my side.
All my life, I've been waiting for this.
We've always wanted. Well, Samsung has to kind of bless. So mine is actually it is IP68, right? I think the new Fold, the Z Fold 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get. I have a little concept.
Go on.
Yeah. So the challenge this year is pretty much foldable, but it is a different, obviously, it's the perspective of foldable. We have the Z Fold 3, which is Samsung's take to a foldable, and then we also have the Surface Duo 2 from Microsoft, which is finally the successor to the original, with some, I think what I consider to be is kind of like catching up to 2021 in a way. Because the Duo 2 was delayed by a year, so we got 855 in the 865 realm, and we didn't get as much, I want to say like bells and whistles, but it just felt like it was a year behind. But it was definitely a welcome addition, and I liked it, and I got a chance to spend some time with it. Didn't get a chance to spend some time with the Duo 2, so when we were in the process of purchasing devices, we kind of started early on seed planting kind of a conversation. Juan was going to get the Duo 2, I was going to get the Z Fold 3, as I typically do. And
we meant to do this swap earlier.
Much earlier, and time and that laundry that one time. And
by the way, Steve's in the chat, so at some point we'll probably make fun of this with French accent.
Bonjour, mon ami. So yes, so for this one with the S Pen, that was the other thing. The reason why I wanted that this felt a little bit more equal is the Z Fold 3 supports S Pen and obviously the Duo 2. So it is running beta. I do want to let you know it is running the beta One UI. They released it, they stopped it, they released it, they stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening with Samsung, but they're having problems with their One UI, at least for this one.
Well, that's okay. Anytime Samsung has problems, that's fine.
It's perfect.
But Google having problems, or OnePlus having problems, you need to throw all of those devices into a fire.
Yeah,
but this is fine.
This is perfect. I think as long as you guys are good with that. Also, speaking of which, the case obviously is one of the hardest.
This is much nicer.
Yeah,
and I feel terrible because no, finish up the Fold and then we'll switch gears and I'll talk about the Duo.
So the Fold is, in my opinion, from a multitasking standpoint, it does meet up to what most, I guess, foldables can do, and it is the standard. It seems like everybody's copying it. Nobody else is trying to copy Microsoft. But we'll get to that in a little bit after we get to shades. Yeah, there's a little bit more conversation going on.
So, in response, I have brought you
as usual. He always does it. I bring it in plastic bags. He brings in kits.
So again, I feel like the main argument of a Duo, is not the best Android phone company. Microsoft is trying to make the best Surface that can fit in your pocket.
Absolutely.
And so I still feel that it kind of deserves to be talked about more like a tablet that can kind of also make phone calls. So I am making sure that you are fully outfitted for a Surface experience. And so same thing, same little pouchy pouch, just to give it a little buffer. The reason why I'm so upset, I have 3 cases on order for the Duo 2. And none of them have arrived. So I've got the OtterBox, which is that weird like hinge armor, which looks terrible. Like it looks like a terrible solution.
Well, I think that's what the one I got on there. Yeah.
With the spiking, that looks great.
Yeah,
I love it.
I like that one because it opens up. It doesn't hinder it. It's actually, but also gets to your handle.
Exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately, there's not. It's just glass, slippery.
So slip and slide for the weather. That's great.
But I also have a 2-panel. If they show up, like over there, I'll drive them up. And just so that you can kind of like actually do something. The Duo's in there. I have to include keyboard, of course, the new stylus. Ooh. So that's the new Surface Slim Pen 2. And then just because I think it's kind of fun.
Is it USB-C on top?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it only charges through the cradle.
Ah, okay.
Because again, I even tried to put in an order for the charge case, which isn't a case. It's just a stupid bumper that gives some kind of power pass through so that you can charge the pen. Super lame. I'm very not impressed with Microsoft's accessory strategy.
Yeah.
And then just because again, if you're going to prop it up and do all this fun stuff with it, I have included my sculpt mouse. All this stuff is going to have to be.
Absolutely. And then I saw that the USB-C adapter for audio as well.
It's in there.
Is it the same one?
Oh, they haven't changed it. I kept the same one. It's terrible.
It is terrible. Well, we like to keep it at a certain consistency.
You have so many better. You've got the Helm. Did you ever get the Eco? Deserta?
No. Well, no, wait. I did get the Deserta, but I had a problem with the first one. They had to send me a second.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the magnetic clamp on it, yeah.
Plug in your Helm. yours will be much happier.
The helmet actually has served
So
me for the size and the portability. Absolutely.
I mean, especially compared to like that THX. The THX is awesome,
Well, the
but
Onyx
it's
is not
so
bad.
much bigger.
Yeah, it just you would think THX would probably try to minimize, but I mean, considering the fact between that and the Q3, it's still a much big improvement over the physical size and portability. But then you get like, well, you could have gone smaller. You didn't need that extra, but I feel like the connector though on the THX is better. Like right out of the back, it's much more supported. So I feel like longevity wise, I worry about mine because it's using that bendable feature at the end, and at some point it's gonna get.
It's funny. Like I feel like the THX. By the way, this is the podcast about folding phones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the THX, the actual dongle, is more survivable. I worry that the THX puts more wear and tear on USB-C ports because of the extra size.
Oh,
so I think the helm is actually better for the host device, but it might not last.
Neither one have a way of mounting on the phone. That's the problem. They both, like at least with the Q3, it's not the best situation. You can technically rubber band it around the phone. iPod stuck it. No. That's it. We're good.
No, they literally include the rubber band.
They include the rubber band. It was their decision.
That might have worked like back in the day.
No,
maybe like the Razr Phone 2. Maybe if you had banded it to the back of the Razr Phone 2.
If the Razr Phone 2 was big enough and square enough, it was like if you ever played with it, it literally like a brick. So you could definitely put there. But with that,
I'm gonna go first.
So we're just going to switch it over.
So we're gonna do our then I think we need to do some predictions.
This is wet now.
So this I don't have anything fancy. There's no kit for this. You have all of the same accessories.
We have pretty much,
especially for the photography. It's moist. I do apologize for that. Maybe give it a minute before
Juan
you
and TK before dark.
So if anyone caught Salah's video, I made a guest appearance in his "What phone are you going into 2022 with?" Okay. And I was the
so he's known as Android Bosch. If you guys haven't seen him before.
Thank you. Sorry, we're close like that, so we're on a first name basis.
Sorry for hitting the microphone. We apologize for that one.
We're real good.
Salah, if you're watching this, yes, thank you.
So I made a big play that the phone I was kind of excited to go into 2022 with. This is the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. Yep. My daughter decorated it for you with a baseball sticker. She thought it was too plain looking on the back. She's not wrong. But these cameras really took me by surprise, and maybe not in the best candid photography way, where I think the Pixel 6 has a little bit of an edge.
I think that's what it's marketed for.
This has been our portrait camera since I've gotten it.
Okay.
So our Christmas card was shot off of this. Nice. We took a nice Thanksgiving family photo, like staged it, got all the right lighting, just really, really did it up. It came off of this. We already have a large print of that.
Is that why you're not in that photo? Or were you in the photo?
No, I was in the photo also because I love on these, like on the Fun Touch ROM, and like Xiaomi does stuff like this that I really like. You've got like voice action shutters. Yeah. And so rather than trying to set a timer, run, pick up Lex, smile, you've got that like panic look on your face. I had the entire family sitting out there, and then just we were all having fun yelling, cheese, cheese. And so the best photo is one where Lex is like leaning forward and yelling cheese, but that naturally kind of makes your face do a smile. So one of the best sensors available, some great video features, and some of that funk that I miss from LG series phones. Pro modes and alternate capture modes. Much more
control focus. You're able to compose almost everything. Does it have the same audio level of the control?
No.
Okay, so it got to the point, but yeah, that was one thing I loved about LG.
Yeah.
Which I forgot who it was. Somebody in the comments last week said they got the Android 12 for the V60, but mine didn't get it.
I don't think so.
I'll have to look. I booted it up and I checked it, but I didn't, because mine is a T-Mobile variant, so I didn't know if
I'd be very surprised if the V60 was rocking Android 12. That would be a nice surprise, but I finally got Android 11 for my wing.
That's how we do it.
And it took a lot longer than I thought it would, but the T-Mobile variant of the Velvet also finally got Android 11.
So that one's on media.
So this is coming your way now.
Thank you.
Finally
in person.
I think someone is at my back door.
That was good.
Okay. I've got
Right. So
that is my photography focused pick of 2021. It is now in your hands. I won't be going into 2022 immediately with the phone that I was the only person to talk about. I love it because there's that huge chart of all the different YouTubers. And it's basically iPhone. All of these Android reviewers are like, I'm going to use an iPhone and some garbage Android. And then at the bottom of the chart, there's this one little face of mine right next to Vivo.
honorable mention.
I'm the only one, and I kind of like it that way.
I'm just glad that Pixel represented, and it wasn't that much higher. Honestly, it was like 16 over 10 on the third and fourth place, but Pixel 6 Pro did definitely represent. A lot of people appreciated what Google's message was.
Again, landing about half as many pixels. So again, the thing, and I'm going to talk a lot about this. Like, I don't think you should be allowed to talk about two phones.
You should be able to. Yeah,
you got to make the Sophie's choice. So many people were like, I don't want to upset Sam Apple fans, so I'll use a Samsung and an iPhone. And you're like, no. Nut up. Be brave.
Pick one. Yeah.
Pick one. I picked Vivo. You know I am not afeared of putting my heart out there.
I was watching the show. It's a 45-minute video. If you guys want to check it out.
It's so long.
There's a lot of collaboration. It's literally a massive collaboration. And the beautiful part about it is it's both English and Arabic. It's not just one. It's not just Arab creators. So it's a lot of basically covered almost everybody.
Literally anyone who makes tech videos on YouTube.
No, but again, so I really miss the fact that he's not making it to CES. This is one of my biggest cover things. Him and Khalifa, which is from I Love Qatar, both are not coming. So, and just for reference, it is definitely coming down.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get totally drenched, hopefully not. So my selection for this year, because this is something that Juan doesn't have, right? I could have gone with the Pixel 6 Pro, which was the phone I did with Salah's video, but he already has it. I could have gone with OnePlus. He already has it. So this is the problem when you want to shop for somebody that's in the same field.
One of the best camera phones of the year, according to a blind taste test, is Asus.
Oh, I thought it was the 485.
No, one of the best.
Yeah, one of the best.
Because again, once you take the labels off of your photo samples, people can't pick.
It's a tough decision to.
If you can only pick the best photo by seeing the label on it, then you're not really good at photography.
You're picking the label. You're not picking the actual, which is it's a conversation.
But I'm sidetracking this here. I've digressed.
So for me, one of the better options, because we talked about it and I haven't had a chance to actually give them hands-on with it, is another phone that supports the GN1 sensor, which
the GN2.
But the GN, no, this was the
main sensor is GN2. It's even bigger.
Oh wow!
It's even more bigger.
It's more bigger. That's usually the better option.
No, not more megapixels, but it's more bigger.
It's more bigger. It's bigger. So this is the Mi 11 Ultra. By far, Juan and I agree on the fact that it should now be a Mi 11 or a Xiaomi 11 now. It doesn't fit in the 11 series. It's seriously like so much above what the 11 does that I feel like it was there. But the long story is, it's literally one of the best. It has a display on the back for when you want to take pictures. Still can't do it in video, but that's okay. I feel like the purpose for this is for videographers. You want to do this and see what you're doing.
But no.
Great telephoto reach. The photo science on Xiaomi has actually been really, really good. Large format.
What I'm really excited to try is the most recent updates for Mi Y, having reined in performance, like 8 to 10% on the CPU.
That could be pretty decent, yeah.
Because again, it's so many of our devices this year and looking into next year where
I think we're going to need.
You want to shoot that 4K video, you've only got a couple minutes before you start getting the thermal.
There's no reason to run the 888 or the 8 Gen 1 to full throttle when you're trying to shoot video. The reality is, as long as you're not doing multitasking on it, like you're running the camera app and something else that's doing read and write on your drive, you should be okay with throttle mode. And I call it throttle mode. It's more like a gear shift, right? You want to run normal mode and then overdrive mode. That's typically the best way to say it. OnePlus did it finally in there on the oxygen voice, which, by the way, not oxygen voice.
It's technically still oxygen voice, but basically ColorOS with a difference. Yeah.
Did you get the upgrade, the second update you pushed out?
Yeah, so I'm looking out for Dave. Dave Burns has not gotten his second update, and he is running into a few more gremlins with like screen turning off and stuff.
So I maybe side loading it.
And I think it'll be funny because do you ever mess with Oxygen Updater?
Yeah, no, I've done it in the past.
So, but it's ColorOS now. So is it going to have the same path? Are they going to be able to to push updates.
The builds are separate. So here, even though it's based on
He's
ColorOS,
really thinking this through. I love
no.
it.
It should still be a separate build. I don't think they would house them in this because it's not like it's pulling ColorOS and as it's installing it, customizing it to be one plus.
Right.
It's actually they're going to house them separately, so the server should still be independent. I think for the most part, they're still calling them OxygenOS.
Yeah.
They're not calling it ColorOS.
Well, and there are some subtle tweaks to the
Very-
look of it, but
Honestly, the UI element I think is mostly what most people are going to be into. The ColorOS launcher, it is the launcher. I mean, it's pretty much what you have now.
I don't understand all of my personality and how I define myself as an individual is based on the launcher of the phone.
But that's where most people live. This is the widget. So I had what's it called? I had Nova Prime installed on my OnePlus 9 Pro. So when I got the upgrade, I really didn't feel any different. All my shortcuts, all my movements, the only thing about it was literally the shelf, which
Oh yeah,
I had to disable because
I don't like.
I never liked it in the original. I always prefer Google.
I like it even less.
So having it on the top right, and I wish they would have given us a way to just either keep it at the top right or just keep it on the left, because that way I could just at least remove it from the swipe. So I disabled it, but other than that, all my shortcuts, everything stays the same. Honestly, the settings tab was something that was familiar to me, so I didn't have a big problem. But I don't want to strike too far.
Well,
I think
awesome.
this is gonna rock your socks off.
I'm very excited.
Even though it's not late 2021 edition, but it is literally one of the better 2021 phones. That's been consistently getting updates. I'm surprised. Xiaomi's been supporting it really, really well.
Which is good considering how pricey it is.
It is. It is literally the best phone Xiaomi made in 2021. I am excluding the foldable. That was not to me, that's a foldable, not a standard, glowing rectangle kind of experience. With that massive camera bump on the back, or hump, if you want to call it. But it is level. It does not wobble.
Yeah, it is. It's across the back enough. that it was
Pixel says, "Hey Xiaomi, hold my beer. We're going to make it better."
Nice. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But the good thing is, the case that they give you, unfortunately, does not do a lot of protection for the lenses, but it has survived quite a bit. I've taken it to quite a few trips, and for me, it's been one of the fun phones to be able to use. Play games and everything. 888, it's fully throttled, not fully throttled. Like you can run it on overclocked and everything. But I didn't get a chance to check out the performance update on it. I did get an update last week.
Oh, right on.
So
we'll dig in.
yeah,
Drop your mic.
that's usually how we do it. So
the Mac.
it always, that's why I kind of put it up here. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me well. Actually, let me double check. Let me see if we're still live.
I haven't looked at the chat.
Yeah, I think we're still there. So yeah, I see.
Are we hanging in there?
Yes, Steve is in there. Team Blocky.
So, I'm showing 5G.
Hey, welcome back.
When the rain got harder, I got
It brought you
5G.
the 5G all the way from the other side. It's been an interesting experiment, right? So we have multiple phones on us. He was on LTE when he got here. He dropped to HSPA plus. I have another phone that's on
down
LTE.
the edge.
It's pretty.
That was really exciting.
But for some reason, 5G is still a mixed bag. Seriously, regardless who you with, but depending where you are, even if there's nobody here, because I would have thought they would have been normally like a mass amount of people connected and trying to do things. But it's a rainy day. There's literally
Los
and it's getting worse as
Angeles
time.
are allergic to waterfall.
Because everybody drives, they own the road. So on the way to me over to you, there's a
People kept cutting me off because I was leaving space in front of me.
So to them, it's like, oh, hey,
I can just cut you off. And again, it's that really passive aggressive, lazy, I need to be in your lane immediately now, but I'm also going 15 miles an hour slower than you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to hit your brakes to make sure we don't get into a wreck. But I have accomplished everything I need to do to make a lane change.
Feature
I flip and hate that about Angelina.
So that's typical what happened. But we had two big rigs crashing in the truck lane away from where I'm coming from. So I had a little bit more traffic coming in. Hopefully, I didn't really release the information, but what it did essentially is that the truck route that usually diverted the trucks off of our main road so that they have a little bit easier drive without people going between them. So they end up now driving with everybody. So long story long again, it's an interesting day. We're here. There's no ramen. You didn't bring the ramen. So we gotta hold him. I'm gonna hold him to that until he serves
I just kind of feel
some
like
bowlage of ramen.
some ability to like plug in an instant pot was gonna evade our capabilities here.
No, we cannot. I'm just messing. I am though. No, I'm messing and I'm not.
It's so good too.
I I've been promised the bowl, and I will keep asking until that said bowl will be delivered. Because that's how we do it. You know, keep asking for what you want, and sometimes it'll happen. Um, we were also kind of debating of trying to do the live stream in my office, but unfortunately my office is a mess. I don't have it configured for two people. I have the chairs, I have the things, but I also have like a plethora of boxes that I need to. Yeah, a plethora of.
Why you telling me you got a plethora?
Have you seen the wall? I have a wall going up behind me. I have a plethora of books. So okay. So did you watch Matrix?
Not yet.
Okay, so no spoilers. We did watch it last night. Omar, I don't think he can keep focus on a movie that long. He would fade out when the action scenes, fade back in when the action scenes are there. But then when there was a lot of talking and all that stuff, the story development.
Well, and also because the Wachowskis, the storytellers, are definitely trying to do something sort of philosophical.
Well, this one is actually by the sister, right? Wasn't it actually done by the other Wachowskis? It wasn't by the brothers. It was actually done by the sister, I thought. No?
So just to be careful.
This is public knowledge. This is not part of the
No. What I mean is the Wachowskis are the Wachowskis. They went from being brothers to sisters. So now talking about the Wachowski brothers is kind of dead naming them.
I am so sorry.
Yeah,
so that tells you what I know.
Just to let you know.
I did not know that the sisters. I mean, okay, so
yeah,
so the Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis.
We'll keep it as the Wachowskis. Okay. On that note, thank you very much.
Okay. We just got canceled.
Yeah. We get okay. So that tells you how much I know.
But again, there's a style to their storytelling, especially after. I mean, I would say after like Speed Racer, where so much of the focus of their storytelling is trying to find this idea of philosophy. So I'm really actually excited to see what does this mean for storytellers like them to revisit a property.
Because I thought there was no way. It's been so long. I did not think there was anything left to be said.
And I love the tease that like Keanu Reeves had on some like, I think it was on Grand North, where he's like, yeah. So I was like, they called me and they were like, hey, do you want to make another Matrix movie? I was like, well, yeah, but I'm dead. And they replied, what are you? And then he says, I don't know. Am I?
Kind of meta right there. They're going into the meta. Yeah. So
again, I feel like there have been so many of those kinds of teases. I might try and catch it.
So I'll end the conversation there because I don't want to go too far. I definitely need to watch it more times. I know I missed a lot. There's always something you miss with a Matrix movie, especially something like this. I think you're gonna be in it. Well, okay, I'll just stop there. Because the moment I say something, it's going to be.
But tonight is also going to be the Patreon movie night.
I saw.
We're going to watch Scrooge.
Yep.
The Bill Murray holiday classic. One of Marie and I's all-time favorite Christmas. So that's going to go up at 8:30 Pacific time.
I think it'll be a good movie.
My mom might actually be in the chat. I'm like, as soon as I get back from this, I'm going to be like messaging her on how to set up a Discord.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be a fun night. We have the last episode of Hawkeye. We skipped that.
I saw the first one. I'm so far behind. It's a great show, but it feels like homework.
It's a bit of it is a little bit. It's better than what I thought it was going to be because in the beginning we were like, okay, so there's no, WandaVision kind of started slow, picked up again, and then it was like a really nice story, became very deep, but you had to kind of go through that little growing.
Loki was phenomenal.
Absolutely,
Loki was the best season of Doctor Who we never had.
We never asked for exactly.
It's
incredible. If the Doctor could ever meet the Doctor and actually maybe have a thing for the Doctor, then that would be lovely. That would be that would be the show. Hawkeye is developing itself, but so I didn't see the season now. We'll catch that up. I have a couple more videos coming up. Short little tips and trick on the Pixel 6 Pro.
Nice.
I discovered it by coincidence. I didn't know there was a new feature in the dialer. That was nice. And then not the feature they took away. I'm not talking the waiting on hold to you. I did update mine, which still no update on that.
I finally got the fingerprint update. I haven't got the December.
Okay, so massive delay. But I don't know why. Some people are getting it.
I'm putting it up there. I had miserable experiences going from Android 10 to Android 11. It seems like everyone else is catching up to all of the teething pains that I had last year. My OnePlus 9 Pro ran great after Android 12. It's now like a few of those little gremlin-y things have been polished up.
Mine's finding 88. Mine got upgraded. The last update, yeah. So just to
Good.
know, the first update, the one that you guys were having to saw.
I just think it was very. I thought it was very considerate of OnePlus to fly a technician out to open up your phone and replace the 855 with a more current
855 LTE with a 88
more
with
current
5G
chip.
because that's how
I
we
just,
do it.
again, I want to say like a kudos to one. That is excellent customer service.
When you can get an
Like
upgrade,
Intel has
CPU,
never
CPU.
flown a technician out to upgrade my Nook.
Do you think we'll get the 8 Gen 1 with Android 13? Is that how it works? I'd like to see that. No, I mean,
I'm getting real anxious about 8 Gen 1. I saw the was it the Golden Reviewer? He put out like a whole series of, and they're all synthetic benchmarks. I wish he had done some gaming. But the Moto that's got the 8 Gen 1. I think it's more a Motorola thing than a Qualcomm thing, but that phone is not like optimized at all.
No.
It just like runs
yeah.
full bore,
Yeah.
stupid hot. One of his tests, it got up to like high 50 degrees Celsius,
Well, he was cooking good.
which is insane.
It would be great in this weather.
Yeah,
You run benchmarks on the phone, put it in here. Actually, speaking of the temperature, I'm actually more acclimated. It's not
it's not too bad. Right?
Yeah, the shock is
Kind of wore off.
fizzled.
I
Sorry,
can't feel my toes, but that's
true.
fine.
That's difficult. But I think you give up at some point, right?
Mhm.
You don't need 10
Yeah,
or 5.
I mean, standing up is going to be interesting, like walking when like blood's numb. So, all right, I want to do just some predictions.
Okay.
My prediction is for the Fold 3.
Okay.
I'm going to be nervous gaming on it because I like to play really aggressive twin stick shooters, and I still don't love the feel of pushing into a plastic
It does feel a little bit better, but it
does feel better.
It
Yeah,
is
for
better
sure.
for sure.
But I'm still going to be nervous about it.
I
I think I'm going to be annoyed by the transition from single screen to larger
because you lose. You feel like you're losing real estate.
because it's one of my favorite things about the Duo 2 is when you're single screen and you open the phone to do something else, nothing changes.
Yep.
And that's one of the, I think the biggest differences between single tablet space versus dual display is I loved it on the V series, I mean the V60 and on the Velvet is sometimes you just want a second phone screen,
Yeah.
and it was basically just two phones stapled side by side. The Duo kind of improves upon that with a more organic UI. So I think it's going to be annoying, like, oh, this is really too tall and skinny, let me open it. Oh, now I'm actually seeing way less on my screen because it's just a big block display. So I think that's going to be my vibe on the Fold.
Okay.
For me, it's going to be more like I now finally have like a current DeX machine, which would be really exciting if I were road tripping. That's kind of where I'm feeling. For the Xiaomi, I'm really excited to run that larger sensor and see what it can do, kind of compared against some of these other solutions. I think I'm going to be a little nervous about the photo quality because it's a bigger sensor with a fixed wide aperture.
But it also does a lot of processing. So Xiaomi is, their post processing is definitely very strong.
For sure.
But they do have a pro mode. You do have a little bit more control. It's not Pixel where you can pretty much auto all the time.
I think once we kind of get up to like Xperia 1 Mark III, you know, when we're at a 1/1.7, we're comfortably larger than a half inch. The bigger aperture starts to actually make me a little nervous because your
Watch
photo
out for the
quality.
bokeh.
Your book, yeah.
Your
So,
bokeh's gonna
so
be
when you
beautiful.
can kind of nail your subject against the background appropriately, it's creepy. But you have that issue of like, man, if you don't nail the focus, then your photo is garbage.
You're fighting with the camera app, and you don't want to do that.
Because you know the Pixel 6 actually has a smaller aperture than the Vivo. I think that kind of does help if I'm focusing on your face and I miss your eye, but I kind of catch the bridge of your nose. On the Vivo, your eye is soft. On the Pixel, I have like a millimeter more buffer margin of error.
I think that's partially what I'm excited for on the Vivo. So for me, so this isn't the first time I've used a Duo, right? So this is the second Duo. I'm looking forward to seeing what the improvements are in the UI, the software, the handling. Last time when we did this, we had to install some beta software just to kind of get it to chuck along a little bit because of the timing.
Yeah.
It was still early,
Not anymore.
as you know. So
I feel much more comfortable about the Duo in the state that it's in right now. We just got one more major update.
Yeah.
And I figure if you want, you could mess with like the beta for SwiftKey, but I don't think it's necessary like it was on the.
yeah, on the first Duo, we had to install the beta for the launcher and the beta and SwiftKey beta.
And that like brought it up to reasonable. Here,
Once you understood how to use it, and not to try to judge it by what, because the problem is we always love comparison. And I don't disagree that I think we should always compare because that's how we know things are evolving or getting better. But when you're buying something and you're like looking at every single thing that's out there, and then you see the Duo and what the Duo is trying to do, and like you said, it's putting a Surface in your pocket running Android, as opposed to looking at it as, well, it's not a Fold, it's not a Note, it's not a Samsung, it's not an iPhone. You need to appreciate what it's doing, and it's the functional things that you get out of it. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing the improvements, seeing how that got better.
But predictions. So you've got the Vivo.
So the Vivo and the okay. So full honesty, there, I have not used the Vivo today. I've been on Team Xiaomi, OnePlus, insert name here. I've been on a lot of teams. So this is the first Vivo I'm actually getting my hands on. I haven't played with FunTouch before. I am
so sad that you're taking the X70 Pro Plus, that I fired up my X70 Pro just to have a backup.
Just to have a, well, see, yeah, at least you had a back. Yeah, so I think it's going to be one of those. So yeah, now it's all soaking wet. We're going to actually, you know what? I'll put it in the box. Oh, you did it. You did it much better.
Oh, I don't think it'll fit in the box, but just throw it in the bag.
Oh yeah. Plastic bag in it all the way. TK hashtag this is not for but
Okay, wrapping it up. We just became like a 90s PSA about
SpaceX. That's exactly how we do it. I'm actually more excited to see what the X70 Pro Plus long title X7 the X70 the Snapdragon X70 is capable of, because it's more on the camera experience. I think, for me. I don't think the UI.
This is hilarious because you're going to fire this phone up, and it's going to be in many tasks. It's going to be demonstrably slower than regular 888s, but it's running the 888 Plus.
It's running the later gens. Well, yeah, 888 Plus is an interesting upgrade, but so full honesty is I love the 11 Pro. Sorry, the 11 Ultra. From the day I got it to this day, it runs smooth, it runs fast. It does overheat at times when you play in games and extend amount of time, but for general photography, 4K recording, using the display for framing your shot, absolutely some of the best experiences you can get on a Xiaomi. I'm hoping that the X70 Pro Plus not only meets but exceeds that. I don't have a way of referencing it. This is why I'm thinking the Xiaomi is going to be still my favorite, but I don't know.
So
I think it just comes down to
what I'll be curious to see is like when you start like really digging into the nooks and crannies. Like you know, if you're hanging out with Omar and you fire up the gimbal, like what that might mean for video. So I'll be curious to see
what the wings. I usually fire up the wings.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
I don't have to go and turn on and all that. Yeah, no,
actually, no. I mean, I think in many ways, like the wings gimbal mode is the best we've ever gotten on a phone. But as a half step, the gimbal.
People's been doing gimbal mode for some time.
Yeah, but again, it's the little differences. Like on the wing, you can sit there and actually like pan.
Yeah.
So you can't do stuff like that on the Vivo, but the Vivo naturally throws in a whole bunch of visual guides, sort of helping you stabilize your shot. So even when you're shooting normal video, there's that little bouncy ball.
Yeah.
That I mean, like, okay, I'm still within the buffer of what this phone can totally smooth out, and you just naturally start.
You were just guides. Yeah. It's really helpful as opposed to playing blind.
And then from there, you can take it up to stabilizing, but it's more like pixel stabilization, less like the wings full practical gimbal.
We'll have to also see how it handles Vegas. You realize this is going over a Vegas period. So yeah, my predictions right now, I feel like the Duo is definitely going to be very much a not what I'm expecting, but a very nice surprise for the upgrades over last year. So this year I didn't even go to Best Buy. I didn't try to play with another Duo. This is literally first Duo 2 hands-on.
all of the people are like, oh, why is there an embargo if I can just go to Best Buy and show you all the
That was
software?
the first
You're like,
debacle. That was such a good. I mean, don't get me wrong. A whole bunch of people
sure,
did that for the Pixel 6
go do it.
because Google did the same. Two steps,
Nothing's
but people
stopping
went to the
you.
store. Hey, no, I did
Have
it.
fun.
It will.
Go get those YouTube views.
Oh man.
Nothing you're contributing to the conversation will resemble someone who actually owns and lives with the device. But
It was
you do
the
you.
insatiable need to see hardware in hand. So yeah, I think the X70 Pro Plus will definitely surprise me. Like I said, I just want to see the other side of BBK because I've worked with all of their other subsidiaries: Realme, Oppo, OnePlus. I want to see Redmi. No, wait, not Redmi.
Realme?
Well, Realme is one, but then there is I think there's one more, but I'm not sure. But essentially,
Oh, and there's also IQ.
yeah. So those I haven't had a chance to play with.
Now, what that's funny is I think IQ is actually a subsidiary of Vivo, which is a subsidiary.
So the OnePlus and the Oppo. So maybe BBK is just repeating history.
Sure. I love it.
But yeah, so for me, like I said, I definitely want to get a chance to spend some time with it. I've been really waiting for, the other, to be able to kind of hang out with it. So that's the exciting part for me. Next week or so is a little slow for me. So after and then I was going to be pushing out the video, a quick short video on the Pixel 6 Pro fast charging on the new wireless charger.
Oh, nice.
So
I'm back down to LTE, so I don't even know if the live chat is still keeping up.
hopefully it's telling you that there is stuff that we're still like. Are we still live? Let me see. Oh, that felt weird. Oh yeah, we are still live. We're doing good. We're alive. At least that position is in the center of where we are.
I mean, that's as close to dry as we'll be able to keep it on.
Yeah. And then the other thing tomorrow morning, doing the Android Bay podcast. What's Saturday?
Oh,
Saturday,
good call.
Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull that a day early.
A special Christmas Eve edition.
Well, special not only Christmas Eve edition, but also announcement of who wins the phone because we were giving out that the Realme Neo 2, the Realme Neo 2 GT. It's that's a tough name, but so yeah, international giveaway going on. So hopefully around 10ish, I'll pick a winner, and then I'll try to get the phone out before I go out to CES. If that ends up becoming the plan.
Yeah, kind of closing out the year, I'm coming back to audio again, where I this always has to come in like these surges, where I have a lot of issues with psoriasis and with ear infections, and when I do too many headphone reviews back to back to back to back, it's like I've got to take 2 months off. It's like my ears will literally start swelling when I put earbuds in. So I finally got the Beryllium from Periodic Audio. So that video's out. And I got the new Ecos, the OH2. Ecos sent me every color that they make.
They want you to be covering colors.
I
combine colors.
I set one pair aside for someone who desperately needs some IBMs. I have 3 more wrap boxes. You're giving away some phones. I think over the next, I'm thinking like I might give a pair away per podcast over the next like 3 weeks of the podcast, and then someone on the Patreon. Who I actually need to before I say anything, I'll need to ask them if they want to be credited. But someone on the Patreon is donating a pair of aftershocks. So we're also going to be mixing it up and giving away aftershocks, and on top of that, I'm going to start using the podcast loosely for some of these other box phones. The people that knew, I mean, again, it's an inexpensive entry-level phone, and it's going to have to be a US-only giveaway because it is Verizon locked.
Oh, yeah.
But they were like, hey, that'd be really cool. You can give away the review unit that we sent you, and I'm not going to do anything with it. It's just going to be e-waste on my shelf. And there's someone out there who maybe needs just an inexpensive weekender phone on Verizon. Yep. I'm going to be throwing that into the mix too. So over the next month, we have some really cool stuff to give away.
Yep.
We should actually chat offline about maybe doing a specific giveaway.
Actually, it would be we could definitely do that. I'll say this. I can tease this. I'm trying to work with one of the companies I've worked with to see if we can do like not a podcast, but basically a giveaway, international one, nice. And that can definitely loop in. We can have it as part of our event, as well as trying to put it also maybe for the Android Bay as well. I think the GT Neo 2 was kind of the same thing that you got with the Ecos. I got 2. They sent me the color one, and then they sent me another version of it, another color, I guess. Mm-hmm. but I never opened the second box. So for me, it's literally still a brand new phone. Never. I mean, other than boot it up just to make sure that it runs. Yeah, and I never set it up or anything. So hopefully tomorrow somebody will have a nice little surprise right before Christmas. And I feel so weird. Like, have you seen how many of these little ducklings they have inside? They're all like, oh, waiting. Are they waiting for us to leave? Is that what this is?
It's the birds, but like the cute edition.
It is the cute. There's a whole bunch of them over there. Like I'm standing there, I'm talking to you. I see like right there.
You know what? We're probably messing up there. Like, hey, let's stay out of the rain.
Last time.
Yeah. So all the birds like
As we left, everybody swarmed in.
It was scary.
It is definitely an interesting. Like I said, this is a great park. I've been coming here for many years. I've lived in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, where this is, for over 20 years. So for me, this is literally, I used to bike from home. You'd come here, bike around the park, and then bike back. That's where we are. So, but it's nice. It's empty. And
we both moved like further away, and we're still like, hey, do you want to go to Lake Alpo? Do it.
So okay, so that was I think mostly for me. Are you pushing out anything else other than?
No, I mean I have two more, and I don't even know if I'm going to put a lot of pressure on them, but they might come out next week. The OnePlus Buds.
The Buds Z2?
Yeah. No, I already have the Pros. The Pro video went out.
The
they finally sent me the Z2s. I mean, everyone else has already kind of said what they want. What I might use that for is getting into next year, and I've been talking to TK about this, it's really less like I want to do the same format of reviews. And what I might start doing is making more of if you've ever been on my Patreon, you know, I've kind of shifted the audio reviews to being relaxed a bit. I want to start turning like headphone reviews more into like listening parts. So, you know, I've been listening to the new Alicia Keys. Let me talk about this while I've been using these other earbuds and kind of mixing up a bit of the format that I've been playing with. So those Z Buds 2 or Z Buds Z2 or whatever.
Yeah. The Buds Pro and Buds Z2.
And then I also have the codec Twig, which is a weird little Bluetooth brand. Phaeton reached out to me. They're literally the first other brand that I've ever gotten that has an actual Snapdragon sound.
Okay, so that's why. Yeah, so I reached back out to them. No word back. They take forever to respond, but yeah, Snapdragon sound earbuds. I think these. So I have a pair, but those are the ones that came with the Insider phone.
Yeah,
it's nice to see the other companies kind of doubling in because Qualcomm is actually literally my favorite part. With the with everything else as far as performance improvement, audio was the biggest part that I was happy to see Qualcomm focusing on.
Yep.
It was a big part of their show. They had exhibits, multiple exhibits, Bluetooth LE, lossless audio, all the different things that we want to get out of the wireless solution.
So this is the first. I mean, ever since I did that interview, and then no products came out for like months.
And even what came out was exclusive.
This is the first one, and it's hilarious because like you could tell the box was finished. All of the Qualcomm literature is applied by stickers. So again, this is like, as much as I'm really interested in what Qualcomm's trying to do here, it's been interesting to see how slowly staged this rollout has been, and how even some of their smaller partners are not, they're getting in on it, but it's like they've been probably kept in a holding pattern until the final literature from Qualcomm was put out, and then they're in this position where they've just got to stick stickers on their boxes to kind of pull it off.
One of the best audio solutions I've had the experience of enjoying on the Inside phone is that Qualcomm Sound definitely improved the audio performance. It depends on how. Okay, so I'll be very honest. I'm a little bit torn between the Liberty 3 Pros on LDAC and the Bear Dynamic. Is it Bear Master Dynamic or Bear Dynamic? Master Dynamic. I keep calling it Bear Dynamic. Anyway, between the two, the audio profile is very close. Especially when you're listening to mastered audio on like Tidal, it's almost hard to tell which one is better. But I'm still happy with the fact this came actually in the middle of the year. Liberty 3 Pros came at the end of the year.
Liberty 3 Pros are so good.
But they're seriously like one of the best solutions for audio to date. LDAC on them, it's just so good. The drivers, the fit, noise cancellation.
This is what's critically exciting is so Snapdragon Sound and aptX Adaptive. And aptX Adaptive is apparently just getting the like high res.
Yep.
So the adaptive part is a little bit more like LDAC now. So LDAC is phenomenal. It really is a great codec for improving audio fidelity.
Sony's,
and then on top of that, we're also now getting this quiet competition from LHDC.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
so LHDC doesn't quite meet the same bit rate as LDAC, but the whole purpose is to also improve on latency. So latency against Qualcomm, fidelity against LDAC. We've got all of these little competing solutions now. I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
The competition is the reason I'm excited. The
Yes.
more they compete, the more options we'll have. And
But this is where like we need clear labels. Like if you were a OnePlus owner and you got the Buds Pro right when they first launched, you didn't have support for that. Now you had to wait until ColorOS, Oxygen OS was updated. Now it supports it.
It was a weird.
So the transition is always the sticky spot.
Yeah.
How you manage the transition is really what's kind of critical. But we're also going to have to play that game. Like if you're digging the Pixel, you're not going to have support for adaptive from Qualcomm. So again, it's what company has what technology that matches up with what earbuds, and who actually goes through the process of trying to figure that stuff out is always to me a critical aspect.
One of the things I'm worried about when companies start really low, but it's still positive. Oh yeah, right there. Ghost plane. Yes, it's one of those ghost planes.
All those pesky ghost planes.
So I'm a little bit with Oppo kind of
Short story long. I'm very excited. My ears are
for
very
audio purposes. I think it's going to be absolutely crazy good. For SoC manufacturers and companies, we may be going down that same rabbit hole of having multiple standards and different SoCs. Oppo shifting away from Qualcomm on the Find next year is a big move. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're not like shifting heavily. They're going just to the other X2 seller on the market, but it's more about changing companies where MediaTek is a little bit more open to customizing their SoC for companies than what we've seen Qualcomm's approach to the device. So I'm not saying it's a bad or good decision. This is literally what MediaTek does. The 1200, like the one he has on the Vivo X70, is a 1200 Vivo edition specific.
It's so good.
So I'm wanting to see the new NPU from Oppo. I'm wanting to see that on with the Dimensity 9000 because obviously that will be.
And also this is exactly as we get into the beginning of next year. Maybe not so much as we close out 2022, but into the beginning of next year. There are so many phones launching that still have 870s.
Oh yeah.
There are going to be premium phones that still run 888s. The Oppo foldable is going to be an 888.
For the Find N, which is also so. What I was trying to give it a second.
Get some adorable mallards like starting to storm.
They're absolutely.
They are not intimidated by us at all.
Oh, they're fine. Are they go in? Nope, they didn't go. I honestly thought one of them
was going to fly through. That was going to be
awesome. So yeah, looking at what we're going to get in 2022, I think we need to see what the next generation 870 is going to be, maybe an 875 or an 880, or whatever the new moniker is going to be. But I feel like the 888 will live on in some form. It's still, in many ways, an 865. I feel like still, for the most part, is my better fit for somebody that's looking to carry a phone for a few more years. 870 is a good continuation to that. And you really wouldn't even know it. I mean, realistically, on a day in, day out, the 870 performs just as well. And there's only so many few very small, I would say maybe processing experiments that you could do that will even showcase the benefit of a few seconds off. It's not going to be like where this thing just takes days, just take minutes. It's within seconds. The 8 Gen 1 is going to be a hot one. There's no question. And I think the Dimensity 9000 is going to be in the same boat. We need better. Like this is why I'm interested to see what they do because we've all learned the 888. It's been out for a year, and they started to adjust.
Well, what's going to be tricky? Like again, I'm talking specifically like Motorola. They didn't know the 8. They didn't put out an 888.
At the beginning of the year, they were.
And I feel like they're making the mistake Xiaomi made at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
With the 888. I think they're making that with the 8 Gen. I'm hoping. And again, we keep having these like nerdcore conversations about SoCs where the people who are the angriest about being average, like I'm an average consumer and I don't do anything with my phone, but I need the most powerful phone that I can afford. This is like where the rational techies come in, and we really need to have that chat. Like, if you could give me 865 level power, if you give me 865 level performance, but you cut my power by like 20%, that would be phenomenal. That's still gross overkill.
You could have done that. This year could have been the year to do a little bit of, like you said, course correction.
But I think if you let the 8 Gen 1 go unchecked, you do get a device that can outperform an 888 by 10%, but it'll drain your battery 20% faster.
So there's a, like I said, when I was at the summit, my direct question was, has there been any improvements done in the thermal management of the 888? But not the 888, the 8 Gen 1 over the 888.
Right.
Qualcomm's approach was very specific, saying that we will provide the parameters for all OEMs on how to be able to thermally manage the 8 Gen 1. And
as far as we're concerned, there are no issues. We don't build the phones.
It's a conversation that could be between both, right? On one end, somebody's making a a Lamborghini engine, but they're telling that basically it'll run on a Pinto body, but
yeah.
The concerns obviously it's always going to be
on a Pinto radiator.
It's a two-part conversation. The OEMs have to build a device purposely designed around a specific SoC, especially now that the SoCs are having a little bit of thermal issue. And we saw that at the end of the year. OnePlus approached it in one way, but you get the gaming phones like the Redmi, not the Redmi, the Red Magic, and then of course the ROG, which are obviously focusing more on thermal. That's what I'm wanting to see. So having Oppo go in Dimensity, the Find N still running the 888, and again the Find N is a China-only phone, so for the most part,
we'll have to see Samsung's play with Exynos. Where that's gonna.
Having Samsung not part of the announcement list was
pretty big deal.
Super weird. Like seriously, you could the tension in that question because somebody asked that question. It's like any reason why Samsung's not
anymore. It really does feel like just the artificial dividing line for phones is just going to be software.
I think we've been at software for a while. I think the SoC seriously. And I realize what Qualcomm's trying to do. Qualcomm's trying to be the Intel of mobile devices, right? Yeah. They want to be the name, the brand that you associate. Remember back in the day when we bought PCs, Intel inside, AMD inside. You always knew AMD was somewhat of, throttled experience, maybe not the best. You always save money,
but you like price performance.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you get the Intel, but you know it's going to work. Windows runs on it.
It just works.
So MediaTek has taken a step. Taking a page out of their book, and they're finally stepping up to flagship. So I want to see devices. This is the thing. I look at a lot of the reference device we played with. It's great, but it's a reference phone. It's never going to be in the market. I want to see how Realme puts it out. So the 4th we have Realme. Xiaomi, I think isn't Xiaomi at the end of the on the 28th, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're going to announce it. So everybody's jumping on it. So where it was quiet for a week after, as opposed to just announcing their phone. Xiaomi, Realme, Moto, what's it called? And I think Oppo kind of put out their cards, obviously, by announcing it. So we're going to see some devices. 2022 is about to start.
But on top of that, we're getting to this point in the conversation where I need people to stress more what it is that they're doing.
And if they really need to upgrade, that's the other part. Do you really need to dump?
Because I feel like the ratchet point, the pressure point is going to be like, you're on one of those 865s, you're not going to get updates anymore. And you're like, these devices are still so ridiculously powerful. They deserve longer support. I know he's in like a tank top.
Dude. Well, I mean, he's running. That's not his body. He's running on full temperature. If I were walking, it's like smoke streak right behind us. He's that hot, but not in that kind of way. Not what I said. I said he was running.
I mean, from a distance, he could be a handsome man. But Barry dropped in. But one, I am an average consumer, but I need the fastest phone because I send a lot of text messages, and I feel like that's like 60% of the Reddit conversations that I pick up from enthusiasts at this point, and I don't understand.
Need to be able to send my I'm just hoping by the beginning of the year we'll get updates on the devices that are getting Android 12.
I really feel like
get better.
There's going to be an even
better
for sure.
The S21 Ultra is still having it,
but I feel like there's going to be an even bigger ratchet globally, a bigger squeeze globally, and I think we're starting to see some of the aspects of that here in the United States, where premium Android is making less and less and less.
Well,
And
not only
when
that-
people want to dump a ton of money on a phone, they're starting to just sort of gravitate more to an iPhone, which is a shame. But you know, Galaxy A series grossly outsells Galaxy S series, and all of the folding phones, Galaxy Z series, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
And-
the foldable, whatever. Yeah,
And
that's solution
globally,
now.
it's like Poco over Xiaomi. You know, like globally, it's mid-ranger, purpose-built mid-ranger.
Xiaomi was Poco was the one I was thinking about before, but that was a Xiaomi. You're right. It's not a full fold.
But again, I mean, like I think this is reflective of give them a mid-ranger, more power-efficient processor that can't do as much heavy lifting, but the same size battery, and you get 3 days of battery life on an average consumer's use is a tangible benefit. But we've done a terrible job. Yeah, but we've done a terrible job of expressing like this is all the laptop style computing you use on your phone. People don't know that, so they don't look for it. So
Well,
there's
it's
no
not
point
advertised.
in
It's not
getting
in
a
the
phone
stores. It's not
that
in any
runs way higher.
marketing. Yeah, it's not in any marketing pitch anywhere. You go to Best Buy, you go to T-Mobile, you go to AT&T or Verizon. Nobody's talking about the extra performance. They're looking at what's bringing in the most. I'm not going to say kickback, but most basically whatever commission that they're able to get as a company, because there are incentives. There are definitely big incentives to sell Apple, Apple all the time. And obviously, you know, the other players can come to the table, but are they being pushed? That's the question. I think the 6 Pro easily can beat many of the other features at a much lower price, and as time goes on, will get better. If this is one of those things that you live with that phone. My mother-in-law that gave the Pixel 3a, the 3a XL, just got Android 12, runs beautifully. And I upgraded my father-in-law to the 4a 5G, and he is absolutely over the moon. Like he just came over from a 7X, the Honor 7X.
Oh, that's a huge upgrade.
It's both. So her Honor, the battery bubbled, the swell up. So we upgraded her right away, and then we got him right before. So yeah, honestly, find what is the reason, what is that thing that makes you want to upgrade, and then see if that's not something that you can already do. This is the thing: is you may have more functions in your phone than you know. This is the weird part. Some people just don't know because they just don't play with the settings, or they may not even be. Because it doesn't come with an instruction manual, right? You boot up the phone, you have no idea that your phone's being throttled. You're buying a Samsung. You also don't know that the phone is not running at QHD resolution if it supports it.
Right.
It's running at 1080p because that's how Samsung knows the battery's going to last them the longest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but those things don't come up. There's no pop-up that's like, hey, let me walk you through all the phone features that you have. But we'll try to
Increasingly, it's
that
like
story.
as much as we try to put videos out there for that kind of stuff, they're not really getting searched for. I think it's
tough.
the consumers have kind of given up on the techie conversation, and these are just now commodities that you need to own a phone.
And it's a necessity. I realize nowadays, pandemic taught me many things, but phone access, internet access is a big thing. Mobile connectivity is very big. This is why we're stressing the 5G conversation. I mean, we're sitting here, there's literally nobody here, but we're fluctuating on 5G. On a phone that's supposed to support it, which, for the most part, most of 5G in LA is really just labeled as 5G. But I think it's getting to around that point. I think we're not going to take too much of your time. I think I know we kind of rambled in, and the rain's actually kind of subsided a little bit. I thought it was going to get worse.
I got my best connection when the rain was the heaviest.
Bring on the rain, man. Bring on the.
I actually made it back up to 5G at the heaviest part of our rainfall, so maybe
Yeah, it's like took away somebody else's bandwidth. But so we'll talk about next week. I think maybe we'll see how things go. You know, being Christmas, New Year's kind of a thing. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Obviously, with the Android Bay, which I'm calling it the Saturday morning show. And honestly, hopefully, I want to rest a little bit. I'm not sure about next week. I was talking to Juan saying maybe I'll take the week off.
I think
But it's magically happened to be on a week, and it's super slow during at my day job. So it's maybe just one of those things I just want to kick it before the craziness of CES. And if CES happens, I don't know. It's looking weird.
I think you need to take this time.
Maybe
not
show up
focused on
on the guy
videos.
there.
Hey.
Echo.
Hey guys. If you do, you can meet up with Scoop, and he can show you around empty Vegas. But no, I would say take the week off from doing videos, just so you can kind of percolate with whether or not you want to go to CES. And that way, you're not like sort of tech distracted. buy all these.
Well, I also want to work a little bit on the studio, right? Okay, so as weird as it may sound, that Pixel meeting that we had with the fortune teller conversation.
Oh, by the way, Tech Love and Mama, the cards are in the mail.
Oh,
so I
okay.
did send her the
The
tarot
deck?
cards because I wasn't ever going to use them ever again.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I couldn't send the whole big nice box.
It's so yeah.
It was going to be over $80.
So that's the thing. Yeah,
Just
because
the big, heavy
it's because of
box.
the size, right?
But
Postal service charges on the size, not the weight.
and then also, well, but both because it's weighted cardboard. They
That's
weight
right,
the
that's
big
right.
box
There
so
was-
that it
yeah,
feels
yeah,
nicer.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen. So the cards are coming to you, and the sage and the candle. But those should be hopefully to you like right after.
That's good. And then, what I was trying to shoot for there is the statement that she made was,
You got rocked by a tarot card reading.
I just it hit me.
It clicked.
It clicked. I don't know why
It
it did. You know, whatever it is, be it a sign, be it a direction or whatever, it is something that I am in the middle of, but I haven't figured out what I want to do. It's a weird position to be in, but I, separating the podcast, focusing on the channel, bringing it more focused on what I want to cover. I want to be excited about what I'm covering. I don't want to just do videos for the sake of doing a video.
Yeah.
So that could be also some of the time for next week. Like I said, changing a little bit things around in the studio, cleaning it up a little bit. I was going to have Juan over, but I don't have.
It's okay.
I have stuff on the other chair. I was like, my studio, for reference, is about, I think, it's 2/3 the size of his. The studio, the Gadget Lab, is much longer. Mine is much more condensed, like a small bedroom. But we will do it. Maybe we'll see. Maybe
We make do.
Yeah, we'll make do. So with that being said,
For sure.
I hope you have the best of your weeks.
This
Come
was
with
the
devices.
best.
Yes, we made it. No fires. No, that was just a weird morning. Okay. I'm just hoping it's the end. You know what I mean? Like, when things happen. So we'll see. So we'll see you hopefully next week. We'll see how that goes. I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe. Stay safe. Make sure you spend some good time with the family. And I wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow on whoever ends up being the winner of the phone. Like I said, I'll try to have the phone out by next week before I leave. But other than that, take care. Be well. I'm going to go on the other side, and he's going to finish up.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up.